Civil liberties. Civil liberties are rights and freedoms guaranteed to individuals and protected from government interference. Protecting civil liberties limits how much power the government has. It's kind of like putting a dog on a leash instead of letting it terrorize the neighborhood kids. In the U.S., civil liberties are protected in the Constitution and Bill of Rights, as well as laws and court decisions. Let's check out a few examples of civil liberties in the U.S. The First Amendment guarantees 5 civil liberties: freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution prevents Congress from passing a bill of attainder, which is a fancy way of saying Congress can't pass a law that punishes someone without a trial. The Fifth and Sixth Amendments describe the rights of someone accused of a crime. One example is that the Sixth Amendment gives people the right to a trial by jury, so it isn't the government finding someone guilty, but rather ordinary citizens on the jury. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures, and the Eighth Amendment protects individuals from cruel and unusual punishment, like being tortured by the government. When necessary, courts have settled questions related to civil liberties by making sure individuals' constitutional rights are not violated. For example, the Tinker v. Des Moines Supreme Court decision protected the civil liberty of free speech when deciding that a public school cannot take away students' free speech as long as the student's speech is not disruptive. So wearing a black armband to protest the Vietnam War is permitted, but repeatedly yelling "Good morning Vietnam" in algebra class is not. Famously, the courts said that students, and even teachers, do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. It's important to note that the civil liberties outlined in the Bill of Rights were written to limit the power of the federal government. However, due to the 14th Amendment and related Supreme Court decisions, much of the Bill of Rights also applies to the states. This is called the Incorporation Doctrine. In other words, just as the U.S. government must give you the right of assembly, Pennsylvania must also. Civil liberties are not entirely unlimited rights and freedoms. For example, the Supreme Court decided in the Brandenburg v. Ohio case that the government can restrict free speech if it is going to cause imminent lawless action. Therefore, Rhonda's desire to call for a riot is limited due to the right of others to be safe from violence. Also, the Supreme Court ruled in the Cox v. New Hampshire case that the government can limit the time, place, and manner of protesters' right to peacefully assemble and speak. In other words, people may be required to get a permit. Some people disagree with limitations like these, but currently they are legal. The legal protections of citizens' civil liberties I've been describing can be seen as the fulfillment of the spirit of the Declaration of Independence, which says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." Further, the next line makes it clear that government must protect civil liberties because that is actually a significant reason for having a government. The Declaration says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. In other words, government exists to protect civil liberties.